point, plaintiff calls the first witness, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper, please.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go.
Good morning. Please state your name and spell your last for the record.
My name is Hunter Cooper, Cooper.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Cooper?
I kind of just do whatever the wind takes me to do. I live in a van with my best friend Thor, especially when my friends aren't home to house me. It definitely is pretty tight living in a van with a dog. Oh, Thor's a dog, by the way, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
You said you and Thor travel a lot. Where are you located right now?
Well, right now we're located in a really cute little town called Midlands. It's really beautiful here. I mean, it's no wonder why Alex Grace lives here.
Who is Alex Grace?
Who's Alex Grace? I mean, she's only the most talented woman in Midlands. She spent most of her life under the spotlight, and that's why I find her absolutely fascinating. I'm actually writing an upcoming screenplay where she'll star as the main host, but I totally keep everything professional.
And do you know what Ms. Grace is doing now?
Well, she was the main star and host of a show, Midlands After Dark, with Alex Grace, but it was canceled after a chimpanzee attack.
Chimpanzee attack? What was a chimpanzee doing on a TV set?
I'm not really sure. Alex has a lot of different acts on her show. All I know that it was on June 29th. I was there that day. It was absolutely horrible. It was the only day that I wish I wasn't on set.
And do you know if this chimpanzee belonged to anyone?
I didn't know at the time, but after I met Danny Kosak, I knew that he was the owner of Elias.
And do you see Danny Kozak in this courtroom today?
I think he's right back there in the blue tie.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Cooper has identified the defendant.
Record shall reflect so.
You mentioned you were at rehearsal on June 29th. Did you ever see the defendant?
I wouldn't necessarily see. I think the word better is hear. When he arrived, he was yelling about the buffet being moved.
The buffet being moved? What do you mean by that?
Like I said, he just kind of came in, started yelling and screaming at everyone, saying that the buffet had to be moved right away.
Objection, Your Honor, as hearsay.
I'm sorry. Give me a moment. Could you repeat your answer, please?
Yeah, he just basically came in and was yelling and screaming a lot about wanting the buffet to be moved right away.
What's the purpose of the question? What are you
Yes, Your Honor. We're trying to prove that the staff of MTS did everything they did after Danny Kozak asked them to move the buffet. Furthermore, Danny Kozak is a party opponent, and his statements are not hearsay under Rule 801(d)(2).
Fair enough. Objection is overruled. Thank you, counsel. For the reason that Mr. Kozak is a party witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
So after the defendant asked the food to be moved, did the staff comply with him?
Of course. I mean, Alex is the most charming woman, so she made sure that the buffet was moved, and I'm not going to lie, it was pretty hard to see all that food go to waste. That was going to be me and Thor's dinner that night.
Did you hear the defendant say anything else?
He was still kind of muttering under his breath. I think he said something like, maybe it's too soon.
Do you know what he meant by that?
No, not really. I wasn't really focused on him. But then again, he was still muttering under his breath, and I just heard him say, Elias is different now. Things need to be different.
Objection, Your Honor, more prejudicial than probative. May I be heard?
Go ahead.
Your Honor, this witness has testified to the fact that they did not know who Danny Kozak was until after the day of the attack, She was not directly involved in any of these conversations and therefore has no basis of knowledge as to what they are about. These statements substantially prejudice the jury against the defendant Danny Kozak.
Well, as I interpret your objection, it's actually two-pronged. One being that there's insufficient foundation for the testimony. But the objection you've raised is one of more prejudicial and probative. On the more prejudicial and probative issue, I'm going to overrule the objection because I don't find it to be substantially more prejudicial. Counsel, can you address the foundation objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to direct your attention to case law, Flito v. Wren. It's on the bottom of page 2. It reads, the application of various rules of evidence sometimes turns on who makes a particular statement, as long as the proponent of the statement produces evidence that would permit a reasonable jury to find by preponderance of the evidence that a given person made a particular statement. The court must assume for purposes of assessing it its admissibility that the statement was made by that person. Now, you heard Ms. Cooper testify that she knew it was Danny Kozak, the defendant, making that statement. Therefore, it is admissible in court today.
Response from the defense?
Your Honor, while the authentication of Danny Kozak has been, foundation has been laid for that, no foundation has been laid as to the context of these conversations, and so I'd argue that their relevance has not been presented to the jury in any form.
Your Honor, if I didn't hear it, the context of the conversation was the weight and not the weight.
Well, while that is true, I must confess that I missed whether this witness has the ability to testify about these statements. So if you have the ability, maybe you want to go over that again, or the foundation or better counsel.
I will lay it down further.
Go ahead.
Ms. Cooper, how did you come to find out that the person making these statements was the defendant?
Well, I mean, he arrived on set, and I knew that people were going to be performing. Like I said, I'm very up to date with what goes on in the show. I looked at the rehearsal page, and I knew that that's who he was.
I think that's sufficient, so we'll allow it. The objection is overruled. Thank you for your arguments, counsel. Proceed.
Now, I want to move forward. What did you do after you heard the defendant say all these things?
Well, I'm going to be honest, I kind of wanted him to get out the way so I could get a better look at Alex. I was trying to do research for my upcoming screenplay, and he just kept talking. I heard him say something like, at least there's not an audience here. Whatever happens, Grace deserves what Grace gets.
Now, I want to move forward and talk about the actual rehearsal. Were you able to watch it?
Yes, I watch every single rehearsal and show. I actually have a really good spot. It sounds kind of weird, but it's under the bleachers. That way I get a perfect view of Alex, and security can't really see me there.
Well, what did you see from this little spot?
Well, Alex was preparing as usual, kind of running her lines with the writers, practicing her dialogue, and then she introduced Danny and his chimpanzee onto the stage.
What happened next?
Well, aside from the fact that Elias was sitting closest to Alex, which I just thought was crazy, Danny looked kind of different now.
Different? What do you mean by different?
Well, I just remember looking up at him, and he had white bandages all up and down his left arm, and I'm a pretty observant person, so I knew for a fact he didn't have those before he came on set.
Your Honor, at this point, I would like to give notice to the court of stipulation 18, which reads, on June 29, 2017, following the animal attack resulting in the death of Crystal Afana, on-scene EMTs treated Danny Kozak's left forearm for an injury consistent with an animal bite. Treatment of the injury required a total of 18 stitches.
The jury will be so instructed. Please proceed.
Now, after you saw the defendant with bandages up and down his left arm, what happened next?
Alex was kind of just like interviewing them, I guess you could say, and then something crazy happened. Danny got up from his chair, and walked off stage, probably more than 20 feet, and he stood behind a group of writers. It was insane.
Did you ever hear the defendant ask the group of writers to move?
No, I was close enough, so I think I would have. Like I said, was taking a lot of notes, and I never heard him say anything to them.
And how was Elias doing this, the chimpanzee?
Well, he seemed that he wasn't really paying attention to Danny. I mean, I can hardly even get bored to pay attention to you from 5 feet away. But, yeah, I mean, Elias was kind of just looking around.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of personal knowledge as to the behavior of this chimpanzee.
Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Yes, Your Honor, we are calling to testify several experts in this trial on chimpanzee behavior and an animal trainer. This witness specifically has no training on the chimpanzee itself or its relationship to the trainer, so we would argue that she does not have personal knowledge or expert knowledge to testify to this animal's behavior.
Response.
Your Honor, the witness was testifying to a rationally based perception of the animal. It was looking around, so to her it seemed like it wasn't paying any attention. Furthermore, if I may direct your attention to page 3 of the case law. On the bottom, Moraine T. Park's Animal Preserve versus Wada Wada Wang Consolidated. It says that the court recognizes the pursuance of animal rights law, but the Midland's rules of evidence does not apply to animals.
I think I'm missing the connection here. Can you explain that a little more to me?
Therefore, any lack of personal knowledge of Elias would not apply because Elias is an animal and there's no need to have personal knowledge of what Elias is thinking since he is an animal.
Response?
Your Honor, because today's trial is specifically regarding the behavior of the chimpanzee leading up to this attack, I would argue that it is even more important to have experts or people with real-life experience working with animals commenting on their behavior to the jury rather than lay witnesses.
Well, I don't believe the Moraine T. Park's Animal Preserve case applies because we're not talking about rights of animals as I see it here at this point in the trial. What I will do, I'm going to overrule the objection, but with the condition that I will instruct the jury that the consideration of this testimony is to be limited to the witness's capacity as a layperson rather than an expert. And with that, please proceed.
I'll repeat the question. How is Elias doing this?
I mean, just to me, it seemed like he wasn't really paying attention. I know with Thor, I can barely get him to pay attention to me from 5 feet away, so.
What happened next after the defendant was off stage?
Things were going as usual. Alex was interviewing Elias, and then the next second, Elias just stood up in his chair and he started screaming.
And what's the next thing that happened?
Well, Elias jumped off the chair and started kind of like charging towards Danny, but instead he jumped on one of their writers, Chris Villalona.
Now, I know this was to be a special memory to bring up, but what's the next thing you remember?
Like I said, I wish I wasn't on set that day. It was horrific. There was blood everywhere. Chris was screaming. It was just horrible.
And do you remember the defendant saying anything after the attack?
I mean, a lot of things were going on at that point, but I just remember him saying something about having to train Elias not training Elias under a partial method or partial program, something about partial.
Now, I want to move forward and talk about the funeral of Crystal LaFawn. Were you at this funeral?
Yes, I was. I wanted to pay my respects.
And did you see anyone you recognized at the funeral?
Not too many people. I just saw Danny Kosak there.
What was Danny Kosak doing there?
I couldn't really tell you. I just remember he went to Chris Villafana's wife, or widow, excuse me, and just told her that he should have never stood so far away for something that was so new to Elias.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Kubera. I'd like to ask you some questions on behalf of the defense today.
Good morning.
I'd like to begin with your relationship to the defendant, Danny Kozak.
Okay.
You testified in court today to several statements by Mr. Kozak, isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But Ms. Cooper, on the day of the 29th, you never spoke directly to Mr. Kozak, did you?
Not directly. Like I said, I was kind of trying to stay under the radar, just let them do whatever they needed to do on set.
In fact, the day of, you never knew what Mr. Kozak's job was, correct?
After seeing the rehearsal, I did know that he was Elias's owner and had brought him onto stage for an act.
Ms. Cooper, you never had the full context of his duty or his conversations that day, correct?
I don't think I understand the question.
Sorry, Ms. Cooper, you never heard the full context of the conversations you overheard regarding Mr. Kozak, correct?
He wasn't really having a conversation. I mean, unless you count a conversation by himself, he was just muttering under his breath.
But Ms. Cooper, you heard fragments of some of these mutterings, not complete statements.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't really focused on what he was saying. I was focused on Alex and what she was doing, and I could kind of just hear him in the background.
All right, Ms. Cooper, I'd like to move on now to your relationship to plaintiff in today's case, Ms. Alex Grace. You conduct research on Ms. Grace, correct?
Yes, like I said, I was doing research for an upcoming screenplay, and I just wanted to make sure that I got sufficient research for that.
But Ms. Cooper, Ms. Grace became uncomfortable with this research at certain points, correct?
I think there were a few misunderstandings here and there.
One of these misunderstandings actually involved you going onto Ms. Grace's property, correct?
Oh, well, actually I did that a lot. I was a tour guide in Hollywood when Alex lived there, and we would bring the tourists there a lot. That was like the main attraction.
But Ms. Cooper, this actually isn't your first time in court before, correct?
No, it's not.
Objection. I object to more prejudicial than probative. Specifically, I believe that opposing counsel talking about the convictions of Ms. Cooper will unfairly prejudice the jury against her testimony today.
Well, that may be, but let's see if it goes there. Overruled. Go ahead.
Ms. Cooper, Ms. Grace actually issued a restraining order against you, isn't this correct?
Yes, that's correct. But like I said, it was a big misunderstanding.
But Ms. Cooper, would you recognize a copy of this restraining order in court today?
Yes, I would.
I'm approaching opposing counsel with what has been marked as Exhibit 22. Permission to approach the witness on the same.
Proceed.
Would Your Honor like me to produce a copy?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Ms. Cooper, I've just handed you a copy of this restraining order, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And is this a fair and accurate copy of that court order?
It looks like it is.
The defense offers Exhibit 22 in evidence.
Your Honor, I re-raise my objection.
What's the purpose of putting this into evidence, counsel?
Your Honor, Ms. Alex Grace is the plaintiff in today's case, and as Ms. Cooper is testifying for the plaintiff, this restraining order shows an extensive obsession with Ms. Alex Grace that substantially shows a bias that Ms. Cooper has towards the plaintiff. This bias should be relevant to the jury in today's case and should be heavily considered alongside her testimony.
Response?
Yes, Your Honor. I still maintain that this will unfairly prejudice the jury because it is a criminal conviction. We can talk about Ms. Cooper's work with Ms. Grace without bringing up this specific instance of conduct. This will clearly outweigh the probative value, clearly outweighs the prejudicial value clearly outweighs the probative value.
Your Honor, may I respond one more time?
It's your objection, so yes, go ahead.
Your Honor, I would just like to say that Ms. Cooper has never actually been criminally convicted. This court order was sought by Ms. Grace. This is not to go to show any criminal nature of Ms. Cooper, simply to show the jury a bias that Ms. Cooper has towards the plaintiff, Ms. Alex Grace.
Okay, I'm sorry, plaintiff, I misspoke in stating that it was a defense objection. this is a close call. But in as much as I'm interpreting the defense argument to be that the exhibit is not being offered as evidence of the witness's reliability or credibility, but rather to show the relationship between the witness and a party. And for that reason, I'm going to find that it is relevant and it is not substantially prejudicial. So I'm going to overrule the objection. Thank you for your arguments. Please proceed. John.
Ms. Cooper, this restraining order actually expires on July 31st, 2018. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And the rehearsal occurred on June 29th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'd like to move on to one more interaction that you had with Ms. Grace that day.
Okay.
Now, you overheard Ms. Grace speaking to the defendant, Danny Kozak, correct?
Yes.
And you heard Ms. Grace asking about touching the animal and otherwise interacting with Elias's chimpanzee.
Yes, that's correct.
And at this point, you heard Ms. Grace ask Danny Kozak about some of his guidelines, correct?
Yes.
And Danny Kozak asked if Ms. Grace had even read those guidelines, correct?
Yes, I don't really know exactly why. I don't really know what they were talking about.
And when asked about the guidelines, Ms. Grace actually said, guidelines and rules are different. Isn't that correct?
Yes, Alex has sort of a strange sense of humor. If you've ever watched her show, I would highly suggest it. She just says something sort of like off the cuff.
But that's a yes. She differentiated between those guidelines and rules, correct?
Yeah, I think it was maybe just a joke that didn't get taken so well.
Right now. Finally, I'd like to talk about the rehearsal itself. Now, you were situated so that you could see everything that was happening with the interview, correct?
Yes, it's my favorite place to sit.
And you watched Ms. Grace conduct questions towards Elias the chimpanzee, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And at one point, you actually saw Alex Grace lean slightly towards Elias, correct?
Yes, I don't really know what she was doing. It kind of looked like she was gonna lean forward and bring her chair in. I wasn't really sure what she was gonna do.
But Ms. Cooper, you actually thought that Ms. Grace might reach out and try to ruffle Elias's hair, correct?
At one point, I kind of thought that I really do like to try and think about what Alex's next moves are. I think that makes me the best screenwriter if I can kind of think about what my actors would do ahead of time.
But you noticed that just after she leaned forward, Elias sprung from his chair, correct?
Yes, I think that's correct. He started jumping up and down, screaming. It was really scary.
All right, and at this point, the attack occurred, correct?
Right after that, yes.
All right, now finally I'd like to talk about your presence on set on the day of the 29th. Now, Ms. Cooper, you do not work for Midland's Television Studios, correct?
No, I do not.
You're not familiar with anybody or friends with anybody who was appearing on the show that day, correct?
Well, I like to think that we're all friends regardless of if we've met, but no, I haven't met them before.
And you actually noticed that getting onto the Midlands Television Studio set is easier than some other Hollywood sets, correct?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, they kind of know me there. I've been there a few times, so.
But this is because of a lack of security on Midlands Television Studio set, correct?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think I kind of know the good ways in where they don't always have people there, but I definitely have seen security on set before.
But Ms. Cooper, you do know that, or you have said that there's less security on Midlands than other studio sets, correct?
Yes, unfortunately, although I'd hate to admit it, Alex has not quite gone to the point yet where she has security. I've been on sets with Kate Upton before and Tom Cruise, and those have really, really high security. Unfortunately, Ms. Grace isn't there yet. That's why I want to write my screenplay.
All right, but Ms. Cooper, to redirect you to my attention, no security guards or anybody else stopped you before entering the Midlands Television Studio set that day.
No, like I said, they knew me there.
All right, and finally, Ms. Cooper, would you recognize a copy of Danny Kozak's guidelines?
Yes, I would.
Ms. Cooper, is it your
Oh,
testimony?
guidelines?
Guidelines.
My
yes.
apologies, no, I would not.
So, Ms. Cooper, you never received a copy of these guidelines, correct?
No.
Nobody on set stopped you to ask you about these guidelines.
No, I've kind of been laying low.
All right, thank you. No further questions at this time.
May I please
Go ahead, redirect, yes.
I have no redirect at this time. May my witness be excused?
Oh, yes, witness please step down, thank you.
Would you like your exhibit back?
Oh, yes, thank you.
At this time, plaintiff continues this case in chief and would like to request a brief 5 to 10 minute recess.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, we stay in recess.